Three people have been arrested following an officer-involved shooting over the weekend. Levazion Payne, Calvin Richards, and Davion Stone now face charges including attempted murder and other related offenses. Metro Police say that a drive-by shooting Sunday morning led officers to Lone Mountain Road and Scott Robinson Boulevard, where they spotted two cars of interest and began to follow them. According to police, the people in those cars shot at an officer who returned fire in self-defense. No officers were hurt there. Two people from the car were taken to the hospital, one with non-life-threatening injuries and the other in critical condition.